Visualization is an essential part of becoming a successful craps shooter. Hey, my name is Joe and this is my Crapsmaster dice shooting journey. Let's make it yours too. Visualization is the practice of imagining what you want to achieve in a future episode as if it was true today. It involves the five senses. So the five senses are touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste. Let's talk about the benefits of visualization. So the first benefit is that it allows your subconscious to be aware of the goal, and that goal is to throw the perfect throw in craps. This occurs by programming your reticular activating system, or your RAS. And this is a mental filter that actually sifts through all the information that your brain processes. And the RAS thinks in terms of pictures, if you will, not words. So this is why daily visualization will feed what that RAS needs. So as a result, what will happen is that RAS is going to start to pay attention to the things that you do need in order to become a successful shooter at the craps table. And it's going to kind of filter out the things that you don't need. It's kind of like the law of attraction type thing. You know, so if you're thinking about it, it's going to happen. If you think that it won't happen, it's still going to happen. It's the law of attraction. So attracting things into you. And that's what the RAS does. It gives you the pictures that you need in order to see the successful dice throw. And it's going to attract that hopefully back towards you. And number two, visualization trains your brain to respond as if the outcome were true in the present moment. So in other words, you visualizing as if something's occurring, you have this perfect image in your head. And the more you could do that, the more it's going to become true, because it's programming your brain to think that's actually happening at this particular moment. And number three, visualization is going to help you build self-confidence while reducing those anxiety levels that you experience at the table. So the more you can practice, the more you can visualize the thing being successful, the less anxiety and hopefully the less problems that you do have once you actually do get at the table. And if you do have that anxiety, hopefully it will be greatly reduced and it will subside a lot faster than it normally would have. So number four benefit is that visualization allows you to increase your selective attention, or your attention towards the fine details that's going on around you. So if you can visualize something happening in a perfect moment, in a perfect way, you're going to be able to pick those little tiny things out, and you're going to be able to improve upon them over time. So what are the things that you need to do before you even start to practice visualization? First, what you need to do is you need to write down on a piece of paper in detail everything that you could think of about what you're trying to visualize. So in this video, we're talking about visualizing the perfect throw at the dice table. So when you write in detail, you want to make sure that you cover the five senses. Touch, you feel the dice. Are they cold? Are they smooth? Are they properly held in the right grip? Do you have the right dice set that when you're touching it? Sight, is the landing zone clear? Do you have to throw it in a different area? Hearing, what sounds are going on around you? Is there somebody that's irritating at you at the table that you need to block that out? Is the casino loud? Is it like super quiet, like everything's closing in on you? Those are all the different types of hearing things that you need to process when you're going through this. Smell, that might be deterrent at times, or there might be something to increase your mood. Some of the aromatherapies that are out there that you can have to help increase calmness or excitement or just feeling good. And then the last thing is taste. How that plays in, you might have a bad taste in your mouth. I don't know, but hey, those are the five senses. Make sure you write down in detail everything that you do think about and can see. Now, once you got those all written down, make sure you go through and you're going to attach an emotion to each one of those. So when you're talking about touch, what is something that you want to feel? What's an emotion that you want to feel with that touch? So if I'm gripping a dice, I want to make sure that they're gripped correctly. I want to make sure that there's no cracks in between the end and there. And when I feel that emotion that I'm feeling is smoothness. You know, when it's smooth, it actually makes me feel good. So that way I know that it's properly aligned. You know, when I talk about sight, I want to make sure that the table is clear on the other end. And if it's not, where can I throw the dice that I'll have a productive result, but still feel good about it? And once I find that spot, it's going to give me a sense of relief. All 5 emotions go through and attach some kind of emotion to it. And the third thing that you want to do regarding prep work for your visualization is creating a vision board, if you will. And this is an optional stage. So what you can do is you can take all 5 of your senses, you know, write them down, put them on a big board, and that way it's in front of you. You know, write down what your details are. Write down what the emotions are that are attached to that sense. And put that all on this board so that way you can see it visually, and you could review it once a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, whatever it takes. And keep it in a spot that you're going to see it right when you first wake up in the morning, or when you go to bed at night, or you're going to see it repeatedly throughout the day. Again, the vision board is optional, but I still highly recommend to do it. So visualization. How do you actually visualize something? How do you actually go through the process of actually doing it? And what you're going to find is that the more you practice, this process of visualization is going to take less and less time to actually accomplish it. But the first thing you want to do is actually just close your eyes and just relax. If you're into meditation, another way of thinking about it is actually closing your eyes and looking through your third eye, which is that focus right at the top of your forehead here. And the next thing, after you get your eyes closed, you want to imagine that you are actually the star craps player. You're actually the player that's in your picture, and you're the one that's standing by the craps table in your preferred throwing position. Think about what you see, what you feel, what you hear, what you taste, what you smell. So your 5 senses, make sure that you're going through all of them as you close your eyes and you picture yourself standing next to the craps table. And then next, imagine that you're receiving the dice from the stick man. You know, how are you going to set the dice? How are you going to grip the dice? Are you rooting yourself? Remember our last video, we talked about rooting. So make sure that you're rooting yourself and you're getting yourself into that sense of calmness, and you're getting into that sense of focus. Now imagine the dice in your hand as you prepare to throw the dice. Imagine how they're actually going to leave your hand and how they travel a straight path down the table. You know, is everything square? Is the dice running square down that line? Is it square in your fingers? Are they aligned properly? And where will they land? How far away from the back wall do you want them to land? You're visualizing that landing zone, but you're also visualizing the dice landing inside of that landing zone. And then once they do hit the back wall, where do they come to rest? Finally, imagine a great result, a perfect result, if you will, that the dice are going to land on a number that you actually want it to land on, that's going to pay you out. And then once you go through this and you get to the end of that process, open your eyes and perform your throw. So again, like I said, practice this at home, but the more you practice it, the faster and the more instantaneous it can be when you're at the craps table. The final step to visualization is to practice this daily. You know, add it to your root training. If you look, I'll leave a link in the top right corner there, but if you look at the last video in this step, I went through a whole process that you could do in order to root yourself, to instill that calmness within you. But link this training daily with your root training so that we can go right from one to the next and make it all one process, because this is what you're going to need to do at the craps table anyhow. But you know, try to practice this training at least twice a day and every single day until it becomes pattern, until it becomes routine, until it becomes part of your normal activities. And remember, sometimes the practices, it might be best to do it right when you're waking up and you're still in bed, or right before you go to bed. So that way, you know, you can relax your mind. You don't have anything else really to worry about. Those are 2 good times to practice this. And remember, you're going to run into obstacles along the way here, guys. Just remember that they do happen, but work through them. Think positively, pick out the positives, and work towards a successful visualization result. Hey, if you're finding values in these videos, make sure you give me that thumbs up. Make sure you share these videos, and so please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Also, please leave a comment below, guys. This is a dice shooting journey for myself. I also want you guys to make this a dice shooting journey for yourself. Even if you're an advanced shooter, Everybody still needs practice. So leave a comment below with what you're doing, how everything's working, if you're liking the stuff that we're doing, if you have suggestions for me to make improvements in the future. And if you want to find out what the 10 steps to my dice shooting method are, look at the video on the right hand side there. Hey, my name is Joe and this is my Craftsmaster dice shooting journey. Let's make it yours too.